somebody came into your business and gave you $10 million to grow it, and you got triple the customers in 2 or 3 months. Are there systems and processes in place for your business to handle that?
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the OWNR OPS Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gray. In this episode, I have Jacob Neffendorf from Rise Online Ads, aka Land Clearing Growth. Jacob is a student of the game. He has paid for a ton of coaching from acquisition.com and Alex Hormozy, and he is taking everything that he's learning about growing his business.
The biggest mindset stuff is possible, right? Because sometimes you can think, how could I do any more? How could I get any bigger? Is there even more to do in my market? Have I addressed my total market already?
And so we are basically taking everything that he has learned from his recent coaching session with Hormozy and the acquisition team, centered around the $100 million money models launch. And we are applying strategies that he's learned into land clearing businesses. Love him or hate him, the dude is a savage, and he's putting on a clinic for how to leverage media in your marketing and sales product. Jacob also has several copies of that book. He's got a giveaway for some of your listeners, so you'll have to listen to the full episode to have a chance to get a free $100 million money models book sent to you by Jacob. So we're going to talk and dive deep on that. Let's dive into the episode. We've been having a ton of fun building our school group. I share a lot of valuable insights about how we've grown Bear Claw from 0 to 7 figures, all related around setting up Google Business Profile, running profitable Facebook ads, setting up and optimizing Jobber so that you can streamline your back office, how to dial in your messaging, basically everything that we've used to grow Bear Claw, I'm sharing in that free group inside the classroom session. So, ton of free value in there. If you haven't joined yet, would absolutely love to meet you. You can join for free at school.com/ownerops. That's SKOOL.com/OWNR OPS. Let's dive into the episode. Jacob Neffendorf with Rise Online Ads and Land Clearing Growth, coming off of the $100 million Money Models live event launch with Alex Hormozy. I'm excited to dive in with you today.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to be here.
So let's just give a quick recap. What are listeners here going to find out about by the end of this stream?
Well, I want to kind of share my wins and lessons as it relates to our type of business and our industry, land clearing, forestry, mulching, and how it kind of ties into money models, and kind of focus on that jump from operator to owner, which is how you can facilitate going from less than 7 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures in a land clearing or forestry mulching or fire mitigation business. And then if you want to add the bonus in, I do have I have a lot of copies of the Money Models book that I can send out for free. You just have to pay shipping. However you want to facilitate that, I can send them the link.
Right here on the spot, let's come up with an offer. How can we make this live stream go viral by giving away books?
Yeah. I mean,
I need a landing page, huh?
I have one. If you want to send them,
one?
Yeah, if you want to send them to mine, and basically when they get through, just text that they found the page from this stream, and we can send them a free book.
Okay, so here's what you have to do. In order to qualify for the free book, you got to follow me on X. You got to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't really care much about Facebook. Sorry, Mark. And then where should people follow you? And then you got to fill out the form on Jacob's website, and then he'll ship you a free book.
Yeah, I'm really trying to grow the organic TikTok, so Land Clearing Growth on TikTok.
Whoa.
And the landing page is growth.riseonlineads.com.
Okay. And if you're watching on X, which that's what I'm seeing the majority of people come on, if you want to qualify for that, you have to repost this stream on X. And then whenever you fill out the form, just show that you're following my account. You've subscribed to the YouTube account. You repost it on X, following Jacob on TikTok.
Yep.
And
growth.riseonlineads.com.
Rock and roll. And then fill out the form, and then he'll ship you a free $100 million Money Models book, which that launch was insane. What did they close at? I recently got back from launching a land clearing business down in Austin. And this last winter, I launched a snow shoveling business alongside Bear Claw. And in both businesses, I've implemented Jobber as a way for us to efficiently manage quoting, job schedules, and invoicing, and even collecting online payment. Why? Because it's worked so well for us in Bear Claw and it's saved us a ton of time and headache. So if you are looking for a software that can help you manage the back end of your business, look no further than Jobber. You can visit go.getjobber.com/ownerops, OWNR OPS.
Everything I've read is north of $150 million with like 3.5 million copies sold.
Insane. Dude, he's putting on a clinic.
Yes. Yeah, he was, and he gave out so much value. What I love is like the first hour of the stream was just him talking about how valuable the resources that he was looking to sell were. And then he drops that he was going to give it for free to everyone who was there. So he gave massive value before he ever actually made the ask for somebody to pay.
Yeah, it's incredible. Well, it broke the Guinness Book of World Records for what was it, books sold in 24 hours? Is that what it was?
Yeah. So he more than doubled Prince Harry's record, which was 1.4 million. And he did it in like 2 hours.
Love him or hate him, the dude is a savage, and he's putting on a clinic for how to leverage media in your marketing and sales product.
Yes.
Or in your marketing and sales process to go market and sell products or services.
Yes.
So,
and showing how much work it took. You know, he built that up for 2 years.
Let's talk our businesses. You run ads for land clearing businesses. I run a land clearing for fire mitigation business out here in Colorado. I'm really excited to have you on this morning, and it's been super fun to work with you and your team on this. I'm really excited to dive into some of this organic content that we're doing with your team. The ads, we've already closed a couple $30,000 jobs, so hats off to you guys.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate that. What I want to dive into here is you were out there at, like, did you do a coaching program or a consulting session the week before with acquisition?
The Monday before. Yeah.
So I want to talk about, like, what were your main learning lessons for you? Like, you're a 7-figure business right now trying to go to 8, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what did you learn while you were out there? And then how has your mindset shifted, or any sort of like strategy updates moving forward?
For sure. Real quick frame on that. I went and did the one-on-one day with him where you basically talked high level strategy and what's the biggest levers to pull. I did that in May. And then the follow-up to that is then you go for a full day and you sit with each department head of his team of acquisition.com, department or director of marketing, director of sales, director of people. That's what they call him. And you figure out kind of your biggest constraints. And then they treat you like you're one of their portfolio companies. And then I got an 87-page document on critical tasks, next steps, and how to do it. And so for me, the biggest mindset stuff was it's possible, right? Because sometimes I think you can think like, how could I do any more? How could I get any bigger? Is there even more to do in my market? Have I addressed my total market already? And that's kind of a hard mindset shift to make. But everyone there on their team has either owned a business bigger or been a part of growing businesses way bigger. And so they kind of, really gave me the belief that, yeah, it's 100% possible. And here's why you're not, and here's what you need to do. And then also backing it up with hundreds of other business data points. Like our churn rate is 4%, right? Just being totally honest and transparent here. But the industry standard for digital marketing agencies is like 10 to 13%. So I'm always like, man, we need to work on retention. We need to talk to our people more so that they're happier and they see the value of what we're doing. And they're like, hey, yes, it's great to improve that, but you're doing okay. Let's focus on the things that really move the needle the most, Sorry, that was a long form answer there, but that was the biggest mindset thing. If you want, I can jump into the big tactical things they gave me.
Yeah, let's jump into tactical things.
So the really big things that they're pushing to me and I'm now pushing to our clients is focusing on qualifying and getting the most ideal clients. So we found out that people like yourself who are already established, already doing business well, and you just need someone to free up your time and help you go to that next level, right? Bring in maybe some plays that you didn't have, but you were already a successful business. And so that's really the best client for us. And so when you're at that level, we can provide more value to you and you take it better versus somebody who's either newer or smaller or like trying to transition from, some other world into this world. It's possible, but it doesn't go as well. And so that's what I'm pushing to my clients as well, is only focusing on your ideal avatar, which is what you have done, right? And are doing more and more of. When you focus in on that, you can provide a better product. And so it's a win-win for you and your client. And so they have basically pushed me to really hone in on that and really qualify who we are going to work with and not just work with anybody who says yes to spending a couple $1,000s a month. And we had not been doing that, but the first example of that was focusing 5 years ago on land clearing companies only. And then focusing on, only established land clearing companies. Only ones that have a proven business model. And so kind of just going from there was one of the big tactical things. And that goes from the very beginning, like your first ever marketing materials and your videos you post organically and paid need to build that ideal avatar, needs to point towards your qualified person and disqualify who's not your ideal person, not somebody with a backyard tree that needs to get chopped down.
Absolutely.
So that's one of the big ones. And then the other thing is basically, trying to say this nicely, but treating your clients like your sales team, essentially. Like giving them a proven model to close jobs consistently. And giving them the framework for that, the scripting, the key performance metrics to track, like, hey, this is what success looks like. And I'm already in the process of building this. I have a sneak peek on the TikTok, but I'm trying to think of a kind of a cool name for it. But essentially, it's the 72-hour booking machine, which really just spells out exactly what it takes to, with whatever you're already doing right now, 3x your sales from what you're doing right now by implementing the 72-hour booking machine, which is just a systematic approach to working your leads. So that's a huge one, basically pushing them to do that. And then this is going to be your favorite one because you talk about it all the time and you do it really well, systems and processes for everything. And if you are interested in ever selling your business, or if you're not, you should always build a sellable business because it's just going to be a better one. You need to have systems in place for everything. And the best example of that is if somebody came into your business and gave you $10 million to grow it and you got triple the customers in 2 or 3 months. Are there systems and processes in place for your business to, one, handle that and to grow with that? Hiring systems, quoting systems, client retention systems like follow up, keeping them in the pipeline for next year, invoicing, getting paid. Like once you get to that size, you can't be running around tracking down checks, like you got to have a system for that. So that's the third piece for me. It's like basically on just my business, but I'm also trying to flip this to make our clients' businesses better, is market and qualify to get the best clients, show them what winning looks like and hold them accountable to it, and then build systems and processes so that you can operate well once you hit your goal. That's the big three.
Let's dive into that first one. And it's all about getting crystal clear on the ideal customer avatar. This is something I've been thinking a lot, and especially since you and I have started talking, like you obviously know like where we need to go as a business as one of your clients, right? Like what we need to focus on. But the hardest thing in early stage business is saying no to the people who are ready to paying you money for another service. And I'd like to go dive deeper onto this, because I believe that whenever you started out, you were running ads for like pressure washing, or you may have had a power washing business too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you said 5 years ago, it all started with a focus on running ads only for land clearing businesses.
Yes.
And I'm sure in the beginning, there's that, like, you're just wondering,
It's a
are there
risk.
going to be enough land clearing businesses who could actually pay me for services? Did you think about that too?
Yes. Yeah, I had no clue. Yeah, I didn't know anything about land clearing except for my client. That was it. Yeah, so that definitely. But I've never met someone who started out in a niche and then found out there just wasn't enough market. Like, if it exists, and the smaller it is, honestly, the better. Like, if I went into HVAC or roofing, I could probably still be successful, but there's a million of those companies, but there's a million of those agencies, versus in our world, in our space, there's not. And Alex just put out a video about this, is like, usually the biggest goals have the least competitors. And there are a very small handful of people who are claiming to be an agency doing kind of what we do, but none of them have the goal that I have of, I want to actually affect the industry. I want to make the land clearing and forestry mulching industry better. And so the more companies I can work with to make their systems better, to make their online presence better, to make their trust building online better, that's going to get me to my goal of just making the whole space better.
So in that beginning transition, you decided to focus specifically on land clearing. Whenever we started, I chose the name Land Services because I had that fear of there's not going to be a big enough market for fire mitigation. And I thought, you know what, I'll make a run at this fire mitigation thing, but worst comes to worst, I'll always be able to do these driveway repair jobs, or I'll always be able to do excavation. So that's why I chose a general name. Going back, I would have called the thing Bear Claw Fire Mitigation, knowing what I know now. And to your point, and you and I have already talked about what my ideal customer is going to be moving forward, like, we're just going to focus on that now in all of our marketing, in all of our spend. And it actually has made things easier, because now I know what I need to focus on from a content perspective. I know what kind of ads I need to focus on. And I allow my sales team to focus on building an actual process around the service that we're selling, instead of trying to be like everything for everybody. And so that is probably the biggest learning lesson that I've taken from like the first 3 years of business. And it's interesting that you're talking about the same thing as you try to go to 10 million. Because it's almost counterintuitive, right? You think, oh, I need to do more to get to 10. But what you're saying is, I actually need to do less and just get better at that thing so that I can do more of that one thing.
Yep. Do more of what actually works. Do more of what's working, I think, is the actual quote. But yeah, I mean, the more you can say no to, then the more bandwidth you have to do more of the one thing.
So you chose land clearing 5 years ago. Then you mentioned that there was a version 2 iteration where you like honed in even a little bit more, or maybe you're in that transition period right now.
Yeah, well, yes, about going on 3 years ago, I transitioned to, if you're a land clearing company, making at least $50,000 a month.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to focus on, but fully transparent, in my opinion, we weren't exactly what a land clearing company over $50,000 a month needed back then. We were very, very good at ads, good at automation. We weren't as good at accountability, communication, systems and processes. Like, back then, I wouldn't have said like, I know how to grow your business. I just knew how to market their business. And I was still kind of learning all of the other stuff. And so it made sense. And I still took on a lot of 10, 15, 20K a month clients who we did really well for. Very, very well. I got a lot of testimonials from basically my testimonials start from about 3.5 years ago on. And we have plenty of clients that have been with us that long, the bulk of them being with us longer than 12 months. But now the next step of that is I know exactly who we can help and how we can help them. And so I have said no this year to more clients than I've ever said no to. But our revenue is increasing because we're doing better jobs for our clients, our current clients, and we're scaling them up. And then we're doing better jobs for the new clients because we're bringing on better clients.
Makes sense. And then now where you're at right now, who are you focusing on? What's your minimum revenue per month amount?
So I haven't nailed it down perfectly because guys' businesses are so different. So I kind of broke it up a little bit. But basically, I'm looking for guys that already have machines, ideally multiple machines. Guys that are, then this is how I position the marketing. If they don't have multiple machines, they're looking to buy their next machine. So they've already figured out how to make one busy enough to sustain them. And then they're trying to get to the next level and then really anything above that. And so in my mind, like if you're less than 25K a month, because most guys are running like 20% margins, if you're making less than that, like if you're making 20K a month and you're 20% margins, that's what, 5K profit or 4K? 4K.
Yeah, 4.
And so you can't afford to pay us yet unless you have way better margins. And so basically if somebody's under that 20K mark, I just do a lot more qualifying, like, hey, what's your mindset? Do you have capital to grow? Why are you not at these levels? What's your close rate? And if it's like they can do jobs, they have a good reputation, they just can't sell, or they just need more leads or something like that. Like if it's something where we can flip them to double their revenue in like 60 days, then I'll take it on. But the only people I'm like giving the green light out the gate is 50K a month and above with multiple machines running already.
Striker Digital specializes in SEO services specifically for local service businesses. Bodie and Andy, the two co-founders, have helped me get Bear Claw Land Services to the #1 search result on Google inside my state for my specific search term. If you want to learn more, visit strikerdigital.com. That's STRYKER-digital.com.
Nice. Got it. Okay, let's dive into content. So one thing that you said that you took away from acquisition was now that you've got your ideal customer profile set out, who you're going to go target for, you need to go create the organic content that will resonate with that person. And this is completely different than going and creating content specifically for views, which I think is where most people who say, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel for my business, or I want to start a TikTok account. It's like they're doing everything just to get views.
Yeah.
At least from the people I've talked to. And I think that's like the absolute wrong way to do it. I fell into that trap early on. I invested a bunch in like back-end editors and like trying to spend and I realized I was spending all my time on the wrong things. When in all reality, what I should have been doing was just giving the algorithm what it needed to go put my services in front of the right clients. And so I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how you're going to create organic content moving forward so that you can get in front of your ideal client.
Absolutely. I love that you said that, because this is a huge mistake I'm seeing. There's like an in-between. There's like guys in the land clearing space who are like kind of weird about online and they don't want to do any videos, or they only want their agency to do it for them or something. And then there's these guys that make content all the time, but it's only content that other guys think are cool. And so they have these big TikTok and Instagram accounts. They get tons of views with their clean equipment and, you know, maintaining the equipment and cool edits of the machines. And I love it. I love to watch the videos, but your customers don't. And so the people who are winning are making videos that are educational and displaying what you're actually capable of and the value that you bring, not just how cool your machine looks pulling into the driveway on the trailer. And I hate to say that because I don't want to like make anybody discouraged, because there's lots of dudes with really cool accounts that do really well. And if their plan is to like grow their account and then sell hats to their audience or something, that will work. But if your plan is to grow your business for actual land clearing, then your content needs to be focused on the potential client. Flipping to me, I have two missions. One, obviously, is to get more clients, but also to just make the industry better. So my organic content is one, value that somebody just starting out or somebody already doing 7 figures could implement or take into their land clearing business and make it better. And I try to give as much of that out for free as I can, following, the people who have done that for me. And then the other side is actually playing to my ideal client, which I talk a lot about: operator to owner mindset, how to get to 7 figures and beyond, the systems and processes you need to track your numbers. Because if you can't measure it, you can't change it. What's the word? If you don't measure it, it's not important, basically. And then being able to take those metrics and being like, okay, if I implement this lead nurturing system, I'll get 10% more estimates. And if I get 10% more estimates and I follow a script, I'm going to close 10% more jobs. And then of those jobs, if I could get 10% more referrals from there, then you just doubled your profit, or maybe even more. If you got a 30% lift across your sales process, you probably more than doubled your profit. And so I like to make content like that for the ideal client that we want to work with, and just educating them in the same way that I'm preaching. You need to be educating your clients so that they have enough information to make a purchasing decision before they talk to you. And I want to do the same thing. And a lot of agencies, they hide their pricing. They kind of, keep it hidden behind a wall. And I can't give out just blanket pricing for what we do, because, it's going to be different based on where you're at as a business. But I can give you a range, which is the same thing land clearing guys should do. You shouldn't hide the price, because you also use that to qualify. If you're not sure if they're thinking it's $500 or $5,000, you want to give them a little bit of a range. And if you can give them a range on the website, everybody always complains about taking calls from tire kickers all day. That's your fault. If you don't have enough information out there online for somebody to know what your service is, how valuable it is, and what it's worth, then you're probably going to get a lot of calls from people that can't afford it.
And then on top of that, your sales guy or gal is the highest paid, or should be one of the highest paid people in your business. Yeah. And if they're driving around, an hour here, an hour there to go to a site visit with somebody who thinks your cost is going to be $500, it's just a complete waste of their time and a complete waste of your money. And yes. So to your point, and you and I had this conversation offline a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, we absolutely need to get that pricing added to our website. And it's also like one of the higher searched terms, like forestry mulching pricing or land clearing pricing, fire mitigation pricing. And so if you can optimize a page around that, like what is the price of fire mitigation? What is the price of land clearing? What is the price of forestry mulching? And I'll let you take it from there. But I know I've seen the data before.
Yes. Yeah. Cost to clear land or cost to clear land per acre. Those are like our top Google keywords across the US, 100%. And a lot of guys are resistive to us putting their pricing on the website. But that's where this price guide tool is going to help, because then the customer can get a price without ever talking to you, but they do it by selecting information about their property. So then they kind of get to that conclusion based on their decisions. But you definitely need to have some kind, even if it's just an FAQ, but to your point, having a pricing sheet would be a huge educational opportunity, because you could also price anchor. Like my favorite one, for example, is forestry mulching versus land clearing. Some people think they need their land cleared and it would cost them $10,000, $15,000 an acre. Whereas with 2 good sized forestry mulching machines, they could come in and get the same objective done for a lot cheaper and a lot faster. And you don't have the haul off or the fires or the whatever you're going to do with all of that disposal that you need to get rid of.
This episode is brought to you by Dialed In Bookkeeping. Ben and his team provide bookkeeping services, job costing reports, and accurate financial information for the home services industry. If you're looking to keep your books up to date, Visit dialedinbookkeeping.com/OWNR OPS. When you use this specific landing page, you'll get your first 3 months 50% off.
So that's a good thing you could educate on. Like, hey, average cost for land clearing in the South is $15,000 an acre. But if these are your objectives, forestry mulching could save you time and money. And then the reverse, if they see your forestry mulching video and they know, you're $2,500 a day, because lots of people like to do the day rate, but then they need their land fully cleared, stumps and roots removed so that they can build on it, it's going to cost a lot more. And so you can kind of educate that difference. And then in your world, a whole nother level of how do you put a value on keeping your property like protected as a defensible space, or, wildfire mitigation. Huge. That's more than money. That's their whole livelihood could go away if their land is not ready for that.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to share some more educational content ideas. I want to share the people who just joined. Jacob's got a couple free books from the $100 million money model launch that Hormozi just did this last weekend. And so if you're watching this, Jacob will ship you a book if you follow my X account, subscribe to my YouTube channel, repost this on X right now. If you guys are listening to this, go repost this on X. Let's get this thing to 200 views. And then, Jacob, go ahead and share your part of the qualification.
For sure. Yeah. If you'd follow me on TikTok, Land Clearing Growth. I didn't mention this earlier, but it would be awesome if you could follow me on YouTube too. Same thing there. And then if you just fill out the quick form on our landing page, which is growth.riseonlineads.com, and you'll get an auto text from our system, which is something you should have for your business as well. And when you get that auto text, just respond that you've followed us on these socials, and I'll send you the book.
So a recap for listeners right now: follow me on X, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's at the OWNR OP on YouTube. Retweet this on X, and then go follow Jacob on TikTok and YouTube, and fill out that form. And if you do that, he's going to ship you a free $100 million money models book. Yeah, if you haven't bought it yet, I just bought it over the weekend, so I guess I was part of either the problem or the contributors. Anyways, let's dive back into platform. You're choosing TikTok. I know Hormozi talks about pick one platform until you get to, is it $1 million a year or $1 million a month?
Yeah. He usually recommends $1 million a month in terms of especially paid ads. Just squeeze the life out of one before you start trying, because the strategies are so different across all of them. But the strategy he gave me in person was, because TikTok feeds videos to people so fast, you run your organic content through TikTok. You can do really the same with Instagram, but I just really like TikTok for that. But if you feed that through TikTok, you can see very quickly, like within a couple hours, which videos are going to perform better. And then you grab those and turn those into ads. And that's how you keep your paid content fresh.
That's a concept that we should just dive deeper into. So what he said is run organic, run a lot of organic on one channel. The ones that hit, that's what you should use in your ads. And
Yep.
You mentioned that first time we met, and I love that concept. And so what we're doing, what Jacob is challenging us to do, is like, his team has given me this whole list on fire mitigation, educational content to go create. And so I go in the field while the crew is operating, make sure to get the field machines in the background operating, and then just like go hammer through some of this content. And what you're talking about is educational content for your target user.
Yep.
And this is completely different than like what's going to go viral on the algorithm.
Big time. Yeah. Cause I have a embarrassing amount of followers on TikTok, like very low, but I get leads every day from TikTok, and I get clients at least once a week from them.
Really? Okay. So let's stop here and correct me if I'm wrong. TikTok is great for you because there's likely like 20 and maybe pushing 30-year-old operators who use TikTok who will be paying you for your ads. I don't think TikTok is what I should be doing for Bear Claw, running content to my 50, 60, pushing 70-year-old demographic. That person lives on Facebook, correct?
Or YouTube. Dudes over 50 are on YouTube. Whether they're on Facebook or not, you may have some dudes who like swear off social media. They'll still spend 4 hours a day on YouTube. The data is insane.
Really?
The older gentlemen that I have spent a lot of time with that make fun of me for using TikTok scroll YouTube shorts. And so I call it boomer TikTok. But yeah, YouTube would be great. The thing is, on YouTube, usually you want to have a little bit more. Well, you got to have more edited content on the long form side. Shorts, you can kind of get away with it. But now, if you wanted to do your strategy for your avatar, you could do the same thing I do, but use Instagram, because Instagram Reels will feed videos out faster than Facebook, and even some of the Reels will show to Facebook.
Okay.
So you could do the same strategy there. And actually, they just told me about this in Vegas, that they use something called Instagram trials, and they'll run videos they ran before again, and you can post like 20 videos at once, and they'll just blast them out and quickly see which ones people are watching, and then they post those to be actually live. I don't know enough about that to go into detail, but same strategy, different platform.
All right. So for land clearing, forestry, mulching, fire mitigation operators, like purely somebody who's in my shoes, like at least I think I'm close to your ideal client, right? 7-figure business in this industry. I do content.
Yeah.
What platform do you tell me to go to if you can only pick one?
At your level, I'm going to say YouTube.
It's interesting.
Because that's where people go to learn, and that's where the people that own land, like the real estate, not like house, but like ranch real estate, is huge on YouTube for that reason, because that's where those people are.
And what are they trying to gain from being on YouTube? Are they trying to learn how to do something on their property?
Yep. Fix their mower, replace the turbo in their Cummins, find the right angle to cut some trim in their shop, figure out if they need to, they maybe have a bunch of land and they're trying to like research bush hogs and brush mowers and tractors. And that's where all the reviews for those things are. And then all of a sudden you pop up and you're educating them on the importance of fire mitigation or forestry mulching on your property. And here's what we can do in one day. We cleared 3 acres. And this guy's like, dang, screw that. I'm not going to buy a tractor. I'll just pay this guy a couple $1,000s.
So taking the Hormozy approach of like give everything away for free up front, do you think that approach can apply to an actual service business owner? I know it can apply to you and your business, right? Because you already do it on YouTube. You're already showing me all the analytics that you're looking at. You're showing me how to run the ads. You're doing all that stuff. I just don't have the time and I don't want to manage it. That's why I pay you
Right.
and your team to look at my ad account, because I believe that I can focus on the things our team should be focusing on, which is like actually selling with the customer, right? But I'm curious, if I take a full-on YouTube approach as an operator here, should I be giving them the like actual behind the scenes? This is how you do fire mitigation on your property. If you want to go rent the machines, here's our exact process. Here's exactly how you do it. Of course, they're not going to rent the machines. They're like $15,000 a month to rent.
Exactly. Yes, you should 100% do that, because what it's going to do is your ideal client, it's just going to educate them enough to where they're going to call you and they're like, hey, when can you start? They don't even care, right? Especially if you have educational content that gives a ballpark idea of your pricing and why that pricing, is what it is. That's going to be huge, but it's just going to be huge in building trust. Like, oh, who are they going to go with? This guy who talks for 10 minutes about the importance and the beauty of your land and how to keep it safe and how to keep your land healthy, versus the guy with an AI image on Facebook that's like his skid steer and some woods in the background. Like, they're going to pick you every time. So the more of that you can have out there, the better, for sure.
So when you're creating organic content, are you following any sort of framework?
Yes. Hook, Meat CTA.
Cool.
For me, the hook is almost always land clearing guys. I just say it as fast as I can. And think about, like, did you ever watch Outdoor Boys on YouTube?
No.
He's like one of the biggest YouTubers out there, like, for sure. Hundreds of millions of subscribers. And he does very little editing besides like actually chopping up the video, but he just goes out into the woods in Alaska and does survival stuff.
Oh, I think I have seen him. Yeah, he like digs, like he'll like dig a
snow,
shelter or something in the
yeah.
shelter and like build a snow hut. Yeah.
He starts out every video the exact same way. Sean Clark, the guy who owns High Level, Sean coming at you from High Level. So I think there's a little bit of a branding thing behind that, but also it's like you're calling out your client, your ideal people every time. Like if you're scrolling through TikTok and you see a video of me saying land clearing guys, and you have nothing to do with land clearing, you're just going, which helps me, right? But if you hear, well, land clearing guys, oh, that's me. What's this guy talking about? So for y'all, it would be property owners, Colorado landowners, Central Texas landowners, Central Texas ranch owners, hunters. You know, in areas where hunting is big, this right now is the season to be preparing your land for hunting. Calling out those ideal people, like that's the hook for me. Every once in a while, I'll tie it to, you know, hey, do you want to make more money? Do you want to get more jobs? Whatever. But if I don't say something about land clearing, forestry, mulching in that first like 3 to 6 seconds, that could resonate with anybody who wants to make more money, which is not my audience. And then for you, okay, here's an example. I posted a video last night of me standing in front of a dozer. It got 5,000 views like in an hour versus most of my videos get like 700 to 1,000 views out the gate. So it's obvious that having something relevant in the background resonates faster. And so if you, like your ads right now, it looks like the land behind you looks like the person's ideal or the person's land, right? Versus if you were standing in front of a bunch of cedars from Texas, the Colorado people would be like, where the heck is this guy at? So that's another huge thing with the hook is just having that thing right there.
So call out your ideal customer.
Yep. And then give actual value and educate. And then call to action, which call to action could just be, if you want to learn more, send me a message. We'd love to talk. Or it could actually be click here and schedule a free estimate. Something like that. Or use our pricing guide tool on our website. If you want to know a very close estimate of how much it would be to do fire mitigation on your property, click here, use this free tool, and it'll walk you through exactly how to do it. Something like that.
That ad would rip.
For sure.
Yeah. Pricing. I mean, it's what people want to know right out the gate, right? And I need to drink some of this Kool-Aid and go implement the pricing tool on our website, but I know it will work. Okay, cool. So let's recap that. We'll do another one of these. Jacob, I have so much fun talking with you. I learned so much about it, about what you're doing. And yeah, I enjoy working with you and your team. And I'm excited to see the opportunities here. Quick recap of what we talked about here. Identify your ideal customer. Don't be afraid to niche down, even if it feels scary.
Yes.
I'm learning that internally. This is something you've learned over 5 years, and you go and pay hormozianacquisition.com for coaching, and this is what they hammer into your mind. Second, once you identify that ideal customer profile, create the content on one platform that will resonate with that ideal client. Take an educational approach, give away all the free stuff, give as much value as you can. Use TikTok or Instagram Reels to mass put different videos out, see which ones hit. Take the ones that hit and then go run ads either on Facebook, or if you get I didn't even ask you this, if you get a Reel or a TikTok that rips, where do you take that and go run ads with it?
For y'all's business, I would do it on Facebook. Yep.
Okay.
Facebook, which is also going to run ads on Instagram. So meta ads from there, because in 5 years, I've never seen a return on investment bigger than that consistently. Of course, we've had guys get government contracts, city contracts for hundreds of thousands because they were on Google, which is why you should always be on Google. But the consistent return on investment comes from meta ads. Yep.
All right. Anybody on here have any quick questions? I'm going to post this to the podcast. So if you're listening to this at a later date on the podcast, you're just going to have to follow what we said and then fill out the form. Once the books run out, they're out, right?
Yep.
You're not paying Hormozy's upsell anymore to get people books, right?
No. I
No.
went as far in as you could go. They did send out a text in the school group last night saying anybody who wanted to have a one-on-one day with Alex and Layla, drop $100,000 to buy 4,000 books, and then they'll fly you out. But 1,000 books was enough for me right now.
So you're flying out?
Hell, I already am going back in November, but not for that one.
Oh, I love it, man. Well, Jacob, it's always good to talk to you.
Yes, sir. You too. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for listening to another episode of the OWNR OPS Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Gray with Bear Claw Land Services. We got Jacob with Rise Online Ads and Land Clearing Growth. Jacob, thanks again for joining. We'll see listeners in the next episode.